The Lenovo ThinkPad X1 2-in-1 Gen 10 is a premium and robust business laptop with a ridiculous starting price of $2,500. But let's say you're not worried about budget at all, and you just want the best laptop money can buy with a rotating touchscreen and pen support. Well, is this the one to get? We tested the ThinkPad for over a month for work in the office, on the go, and also for plenty of gaming and entertainment. Many things are awesome, but not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Let's get into it. If you're thinking about getting a Lenovo ThinkPad, you likely already know that these are some of the best built Windows laptops. Features like the US military MIL-STD 810H certification, a spill-proof keyboard, and overall robust build quality are things that you just come to expect. But visually, we think that Lenovo has done a good job as well. This ThinkPad X1 comes in a silver gray color. The chassis is made of a softer, matte and fingerprint repellent aluminium that feels high-end to the touch. On the back, you'll find a ThinkPad logo on the top left corner alongside a red LED indicating whether the laptop is on or asleep. Overall, everything about this laptop just looks and feels high quality. It weighs 1.3 kilos, similar to a MacBook Air, and comes with a 14-inch touch display. At the top of the display, there's a slight protruding notch containing the webcam. More uniquely, this 2-in-1 laptop has hinges that allow the display to extend almost 300 degrees, allowing you to convert it into a tablet form factor. When flipped, the ThinkPad looks just like a thicker Microsoft Surface. You can also use it in a tent mode for watching video content. You'll find a power button on the right side rather than the keyboard. That way, it's also reachable in tablet mode. A small LED indicates the power and charging status on top of the button. Let's talk about its performance. Here, it gets a little bit convoluted. You can find the ThinkPad X1 2-in-1 with two different CPU series. One of them has a U suffix, the other with V. Our ThinkPad comes with the Core Ultra 7 258V and 32GB of RAM and a 1TB SSD. You can also get a similar spec with 16 or 64GB of RAM and a 512GB SSD. However, if you want to save some cash, you can spend around $2,200 for one configure with the Core Ultra 5 255U. That chip also comes with 32GB of RAM, but features the older and less efficient Intel 3 manufacturing and a slower Arc 140T GPU. So we recommend sticking with the V series if you want the best battery life and GPU performance. But let's talk about the processor we actually have. In Geekbench, results are on par or better than other Intel Lunar Lake based laptops in CPU single core. Notably, it's also around 10% faster than the Snapdragon X Elite Surface Pro 11 in single core. The Snapdragon chip does do better in the multi-core test thanks to having 10 cores instead of 8. The ThinkPad truly shines in GPU benchmarks though, with a whopping 20% lead over the Acer Swift 14 AI, which has the exact same chipset. It's also an entire 35% faster than the Microsoft Surface Pro 11 with the Snapdragon chip. To be honest, nobody's buying this laptop for gaming, but with its 120Hz refresh screen and decent GPU performance, a bit of light gaming on the side should not be an issue. And that's pretty much exactly what we find. In the finals, with the low preset, we can get above 80 FPS on average with Performance XeSS upscaling, which is Intel's own image upscaler for games. This result was achieved with a display resolution set to 1920x1080p, so a native resolution will probably be a lot more challenging. Using the same resolution, we tested Doom 2016. Surprisingly, the Arc 140V iGPU is a little bit underwhelming here. With the Ultra settings preset, we can get a solid 60 FPS average, again on 1080p, and setting everything to low can yield around 100 FPS. Fortnite is another title that features Intel's AI upscaling. At 1080p, the game can easily reach 120 FPS on lower settings with quality upscaling. But strangely, after the most recent Windows update, Fortnite doesn't start anymore, and we haven't found a fix for it. That's why we don't have any footage of the game. The ThinkPad actually does get pretty warm in games, and we saw core temperatures peak at around 95 degrees when using the Windows Performance Power Profile. We recommend sticking to the balanced mode to avoid throttling and fan noise. There also seems to be a bit of driver instability considering the mediocre performance in Doom and Fortnite refusing to launch. But overall gaming performance is very acceptable. You'll find a practical selection of ports across this laptop. There are two classic USB-A ports, one on each side, and two USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports with support for charging and display output. Since these are the only charging ports on the laptop, it is unfortunate that they're both on the left side. The DisplayPort 2.1 output worked perfectly when we connected it to an external 1440p monitor. You'll also find a SIM card slot on the left side, but you can set up an eSIM if you prefer that. This allows you to use your data plan on the go, but making phone calls is not possible despite the SIM support. The right side has an additional full-sized HDMI 2.1 port with up to 4K 60Hz output and a 3.5mm headphone jack. You'll also find a Kensington Nano security slot for theft protection. An SD card reader would obviously be a welcome addition here, but since this is a business laptop, it can be forgiven. A 57 watt-hour battery is pretty average for a 14-inch laptop, but thanks to the efficient Intel Core Ultra 7 258V chip, you can expect a lot more juice out of this laptop compared to previous generations. In our YouTube HD video playback test, the ThinkPad lasted a respectable 10 hours at max brightness. This result is pretty in line with other current-gen laptops we've tested. The Acer Swift 14 AI lasted 20% longer, and the Surface Pro 15%. The battery life on this laptop will vary heavily depending on your configuration, but you can expect any configuration to last a full day for lighter work. This ThinkPad has one of the sharpest webcams we've ever seen on a laptop. Selfies look sharp and crisp at a 4K resolution, and videos can even be recorded at up to 1440p at 30 frames per second. Even video calling in a dark environment is not a problem. If you're concerned about privacy, the camera can be fully covered via a shutter on the top notch. Windows Hello is also supported, and you can find the 3D face scanning hardware next to the webcam. Alternatively, you can also unlock the laptop with the on-keyboard fingerprint scanner. Both unlock options work super reliably, and the camera can even detect when you're looking away to automatically dim the display. Let's talk about that famous ThinkPad keyboard. It's good. The keys are tactile, have long travel distance, and don't feel mushy, unlike on many cheaper Windows laptops. You can type on this keyboard for hours without feeling any fatigue, which we did while writing this review. In the very center of the keyboard, you'll find the iconic ThinkPad trackpoint. Although we didn't use this feature a lot, we know that it has a lot of fans and it's a nice design feature regardless. There are two trackpad options when you order the laptop. Either a traditional ThinkPad style trackpad with 3 physical buttons for left and right click and 1 for the scrolling with the track point, or you can order a haptic trackpad without the buttons. Our model has a haptic trackpad which feels super accurate and premium. It could just be a tad bigger. The X1 2-in-1 comes with a matte 1920 x 1200p LCD low power display by default, and for $100 more you can change it for an OLED display. The OLED has a 120Hz refresh rate instead of 60, better color accuracy, contrast, and a 2.8K resolution. Both displays get up to 500 nits of peak brightness. The touchscreen works great. Everything is responsive, and we notice much less smudging compared to many tablets we have tested. Our only complaint is that Windows 11 is still not well optimized for only touch control, despite Microsoft having their own series of Windows Surface tablets. Programs like Photoshop are also designed with using mouse and keyboard in mind, so Android or iPad OS feel miles ahead here. Our test unit comes with the OLED display, and we think it's gorgeous. Of course, it's more reflective compared to the LCD model, but thanks to an anti-glare layer, you'll never be blinded by overhead lights. We watched The Walking Dead on Netflix with this laptop on a trip and had a great time. Dark scenes are super immersive, and HDR, if enabled, boosts contrast even more. With the OLED, you can also get significantly longer battery life if you use dark mode for Windows and all your apps. When it comes to the speakers, we are a bit underwhelmed, to be honest. They get pretty loud and the audio quality is decent, but it's nowhere as detailed or bassy as the speakers on an older MacBook Pro. The sound seems to come from under the keyboard and underneath the chassis, which helps it fill the room in tablet mode, but obviously sounds less clear than forward-firing speakers. On any other laptop, we would find these more than acceptable, but here you're spending at least $2,500, so it's reasonable to expect every feature to be top class. And that's just not the case for the speakers, unfortunately. For another $20, Lenovo will throw in the Lenovo Yoga Pen, which we think is very worth the price. With the multi-touch display, you can jot down quick notes or reminders, draw a diagram or scribbles on a digital whiteboard with ease. Allowing you to turn the laptop into a writing tablet is one of the highlights of the 360-degree design. The Yoga Pen is super accurate at note-taking apps like OneNote. However, we don't think that the ThinkPad X1 2-in-1 can fully replace a note-taking tablet, since the laptop is quite bulky and thick when folded into tablet mode. Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 2-in-1 Gen 10 is a sleek but robust business notebook that's hard not to love. The touchscreen works well, performance is good, and the keyboard and trackpad are top-notch. It's arguably one of the best business laptops around. Only the speakers feel a little bit underwhelming. Honestly, the biggest weakness of this laptop is the price. You can find the Lenovo Yoga 7i 14-inch Intel for a much more digestible price and almost identical specs, Or you can opt for a Microsoft Surface Pro 12-inch for a true Windows tablet experience. Any cheaper Windows laptop can handle office tasks just as well, so you're really paying a premium when you buy this model. But if the price doesn't deter you, we think that this Lenovo ThinkPad 2-in-1 is seriously worth recommending. If you're interested in Windows convertibles like this ThinkPad, you might also find our video about the Samsung Galaxy Book 5 Pro 360 that we made a couple months ago very interesting. Thank you for watching, and yeah.